Patrik Laine speaking to the media. We know that it was a down year last year. I'm willing to give everybody, just a little bit of a break for last year. We don't need to go into the reasons why. We all know why. But it wasn't pretty. It wasn't good with Columbus. But I think the line that a lot of people are picking up on here, Pools, is the fact that he said, I don't need to prove myself anymore. He does go on to say that he still wants to get better. It's always about getting better. But he goes on to say, I don't need to prove myself anymore. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I think he's got to reprove himself. I mean, he's proven that he can score in the National Hockey League. I mean, what did he have his first 4 years? It was ridiculous. I mean, he put up great numbers. He can score in the National Hockey League. That was a tough situation. The only person that was probably happy with his output was Pierre-Luc Dubois, who had a similar output when he went to Winnipeg, and so it was hard to compare them. I mean, the trade really didn't work out for either team to this point. The best player of the three was probably Jack Roslovic. But, that whole situation in Columbus, they have to get a star player to really engage and really want to stay there, and that's been hard for them. And they've had some really, really good players there. Now, Werenski did on defense. He doubled down on defense. But, they've lost a lot of guys over the last couple of years, and I like some of their young guys. And, I can't figure out why guys haven't found Columbus to be, a better town to play in. And a large part of it is winning, because it's a great town. I mean, Columbus is a great college town. Ohio State is there. It's a good numbers-wise. It's a good rink setup. It's a good downtown area. And so, they've got to win. And they haven't been able to do that consistently. And Jarmo rolled the dice a couple of years ago and went for it, and even rolled the dice in this trade. And he brought a guy in Patrik Laine, who has put up huge numbers. And he's got to get back on track and do it again. But I think anytime you have a year like that, he's saying it for himself, Andy, as much as anything. I mean, he's trying to convince himself that he doesn't have to prove it to anybody, but he does. And, he's going to get into the contract portion of it as well. And so he's got to go out and show that he's the player that he was his first 4 years in the league.
Poulin, you talk about Laine, and we're not here to break down Columbus, but I look at a couple guys on their roster that I think, need a resurgence. And the other guy is Max Domi for me. Max Domi, was it 2 years ago? I guess when there was an 82-game season, he had 72 points as a centerman in Montreal. And, the previous year when he was traded for Galchenyuk, had 9 goals. Bergevin took a gamble on him. And the one thing that, I know Bergevin takes a lot of heat, but he's been pretty good at moving assets before, they kind of hit the ditch. And that was Galchenyuk. That was Domi. Do you see Domi having a resurgence there, or is he a guy that just is kind of plateaued and needs to kind of deal with what he has in front of him?
Yeah, I think he's still got game, Jamie. I do.
Yeah.
He had a huge year a couple of years ago, and 72 points, and he was good every night. We did a lot of those games, and he was really, really good. And he almost seems to get caught up in a little bit. And I think, they tried him on the wing. They tried him with different players. He really didn't get settled in. They thought he and Drouin could play together. That didn't work out. But, he's a guy they've got to lean on in Columbus. I mean, they gave up Josh Anderson for him, and it's a big year for him. It's a contract year for him as well. So, I do think he still has game. He's only 26 years old. I think he's when he plays like he's capable. We've seen him. It was only 2 years ago that he had that big year. So he's got to get back to just keeping it simple and doing what he does and not overcomplicate things.